for conducting this today. And Steve, thank you very much. Aga, where'd you go? There you are. Thank you, my friend. He's not that short. No, he's big in stature. Shazia, thank you to your family. Where does Fatima go? Where she go? She stepped out. And Louise, see who's one. So I want to thank each and every one of you for being here tonight. Shega, you can speak on my behalf anytime. You do a great job, so thank you very, very much. I want to thank all of you for being here. In particular, I want to thank Danny Drum as well. Danny's been a friend and a true ally to me throughout my political career, so I just want to say thank you very, very much for all you do. I want you to know I listened very carefully to my friend from Bangladesh, from Nepal, from Pakistan, and India. We've covered many of the countries within the region, and there are a few still to go. I've visited to all, if not just about all the countries I just mentioned. And I zeroed in very early on in my career in the House of Representatives on South Asia. A lot of people ask me why. They look at me and they say, you don't look South Asian. And the reason is, as a young boy, and it sounds kind of trivial, I was a big Beatles fan.
Me too.
And George Harrison, you too. And George Harrison, he focused on Bangladesh and he focused on India and in the region. And I wondered, why was he so interested? And so then I became interested. And the more I learned, the more fascinated I was by the politics, by the culture, by the people. And it's been one of my great pleasures of my career in public service in the House of Representatives to have traveled to the region on many occasions. The people are top rate. And so when people here in my district are hurting, that hurts me. So I'm saddened to hear that we're 16th internationally on the happiness scale. I'm even further saddened to hear that New York State is 50th out of 50 on the happiness scale. And that people right here in our community feel unhappy. We need to change that. We need to change that for everyone. And I would dare suggest, I should say assalamu alaikum before I started this evening, I'm sorry. I wonder if Donald Trump ever said that. But I think much of the unhappiness that you're facing right now is in direct correlation to the rhetoric that's been used in this last campaign. It's gone on for almost 2 years now. That's a long time. That's a long time to be subjected to negativity, to be subjected to the rhetoric of Donald Trump. He early on in this campaign specifically attacked the Muslim American community. And I felt that pain. 9/11 happened to all of us, and anyone who uses that against a particular people is not deserving of anyone's support. We ought not even listen to them. But unfortunately, he's become the standard bearer of the grand old party, the GOP, the Republican Party. This may sound counterintuitive, Danny, but I'm the chairman of the Democratic Party of Queens County. But I will tell you, we need a healthy Republican Party. We do not have a healthy Republican Party in this country. It doesn't exist. And this is what happens when parties become unhealthy. People like Donald Trump rise to the forefront. Their populist statements, they speak very candidly. They speak very openly. They speak honestly. When political correctness is to become politically incorrect, and political incorrectness is now politically correct. There's something wrong with that. There are reasons why maybe we don't say everything that's on our mind. It's probably a good thing that we don't, all of us have that. We don't say everything we want to say. We have temperament. We hold that back. And that's what has been lost in this election in this one person. Donald Trump is a damaged human being. He's damaged. He's not repairable. He's not repairable, not at this point in the stage of his life. To attack the mother and father of a gold star parent, Mr. and Mrs. Khan. Now, I spoke at the convention the night before they did, and it was one of the most thrilling moments of my life. But I have to tell you, I was even more moved and touched by being in that room and hearing Mr. Khan talk about his son, his experience as an American, his total understanding that something Donald Trump doesn't know and could never know, and he even said it that night, his total understanding and appreciation of the United States Constitution. And when he took that out of his pocket, the world listened. The world was stunned and listened. It was a great lesson for the entire world. We all learned that night. When you think of the sacrifice that that family gave, a Muslim family, Pakistan family, an American family, the ultimate sacrifice. Mr. Trump talked about his own sacrifice. Look at all the buildings he built. Look at all the sacrifice he made to make those buildings. The people who sacrificed to make those buildings are the men and women who toiled in those jobs, maybe lost a finger, or fell off a scaffold and died, or broke their arms and their legs and their backs to build those buildings. Those are the people who sacrificed. Mr. Trump is a user and an opportunist. He uses other people's money, and I know tonight, we're here today because you're giving me your money to use for political purposes. I too use other people's money. We all use it in some way or another. If we take out a bank loan to buy a home, we borrow that money from the universe, from all of us, universally, and we pay that back with interest. And we thank to have the opportunity to have that up, to borrow that money. Donald Trump uses other people's money with no intention of ever paying it back, only if he has to. Donald Trump declared bankruptcy. How many businessmen do we have here tonight? How shamed, and by the way, bankruptcy is legitimate. There's nothing, people from time to time need to be able to relieve themselves of the burden. But it's not something that society necessarily applauds. We don't say, yeah, you declared bankruptcy, oh, good for you. But we have an understanding, if someone has bankruptcy, anything can happen, a bad market, and you say, bad business. It's a tough time, I'm sorry for your loss, I'm sorry for your hard times. To do it a second time, and I said this earlier at the table I was at earlier today, maybe you should try to find a different business, maybe, the second time, we can't do that. The third time, shame on the bank. Yeah. The fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time. Shame on all of us, right? That we allow someone to exploit and to use the laws that are there to protect people who go through a tough time. That's willful, that is intentional. When the thousands of people lost their jobs, they sacrificed because their families were devastated. When the contractors were paid penny on the dollar, they sacrificed, they hurt. My father was a bankruptcy attorney. He was an attorney here in Queens. He represented a man from Bulgaria of Armenian descent. His name was Setar Gagonian. He was an artisan. He made metal fences. He was a metallurgist. He had a contract to build a fence for the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. He was known all over the world. Well, the Crown Prince changed the specs, and he sat on $2 million worth of gates in his factory in Woodside. And my father stepped in as his attorney and saved his home and saved his building of business, and he was able to put at bay all his creditors. Setar Gagonian was an immigrant to this country. Setar Gagonian loved the United States of America almost as much as he loved his own family. Setar Gagonian was devastated that he had to declare bankruptcy. And in that period after he declared bankruptcy, he never stopped working until every one of his creditors was repaid. Everyone. He was under no obligation to do that. He had no obligation to do it. He paid every one of them back. Senegonian died last year. Senegonian would be disgusted to see that Donald Trump is running as the standard bearer of the Republican Party in the United States today. He was a Republican. He'd be disgusted to see that this happened. That's what a good person does. He goes back after he's had the hard time and says, I will pay you back. How are you doing? Are you making it okay? That's what a good American does. That's not what Donald Trump ever did. In fact, what he did is he took all his losses and he carried them forward so that he would pay no income tax for 15 years. Now think of this.